In live events, emergencies don't come with warnings. When the DJ cancels at the last minute, someone has to step in. These are their stories.
"911, what's your emergency?"
Yeah. Hi. We need help. Our DJ just canceled right now.
Okay. Stay calm. Take a breath. Tell me where you are.
It's a wedding guests are here. Our ceremony starts in 20 minutes. There's no sound, no music. People are starting to notice.
All right, is anyone injured?
Caller, but this is about to be a disaster.
I understand. I'm classifying this as an event services emergency. Stay calm. Help is on the way.
DJ respond, emergency DJ respond, emergency DJ respond, emergency DJ response.
We've got a live event DJ no-show. Ceremony start is imminent. Client stressed crowd on site.
Copy that.
They're gonna need backups, quick setup, and someone who can take control of the room. Understood. I'm en route. Because real DJs don't panic. They prepare. They adapt. They show up. This is Cue It Up.
Before it's time to spin, you've got to first cue it up.
I'm probably in your area too. Everybody who owns a laptop, they're a DJ. Everybody who owns a DSL camera, they're a photographer.
And what I'll do is put up blurbs so therefore you can see what I'm thinking about and why I chose that song. You can see the reaction of the kids. So you can kind of like get an idea of how to use it and what to expect.
Why do you want to charge for something that you have the knowledge of and these other DJs don't have the knowledge of? Share your knowledge, you know?
Right.
But it's DJing's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun too, you know? I'm DJ Mikey Mike. I cover central, northeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, parts of New Jersey, parts of New York State.
And I'm Dwayne Dixon, the Hitman D-Dub from Cleveland, Ohio. And it's time to cue it up. Okay, what's up everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cue It Up DJ podcast with me, the Hitman D-Dub, and my two friends, DJ Mikey Mike and DJ K from DJ K Productions. Kevin.
Hey Kevin, what's happening, buddy?
Not too much, just enjoying the warm summer days.
Oh no, I don't like this. I I don't mind the heat, but the humidity I don't like. Humidity, take that away.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that being gone too.
Yeah, yeah. And
And our
allergy.
okay. And our podcast is a podcast for DJs of all skill levels to come connect, learn, and grow from pro tips to real talk, where we are here to support and celebrate the DJ community. So here are the takeaways from last week's episode when we were talking about our weddings becoming overproduced. The first key takeaway is bigger isn't always better. You need to bring the equipment for the room. Number 2, every event is a marketing opportunity. So make sure you're out there getting content to promote your business. And 3, protect your business like a professional. And speaking about that, it's just ironic that Jason Genai dropped a video today talking about protecting what you post on social media. Because there was a person within his SCE group that kind of like lost a gig after being booked for it. And then that client was looking at the post that person was posting. And then they felt that that DJ was no longer their fit. So they decided to call in and get someone else. It wasn't that he posted anything negative or outrageous. It's just they was looking for a certain, I guess you could say, EDM-ish remix kind of DJ. But the social proof that he was posting wasn't showing that he's that kind of DJ. So they started to second guess. So that's a good...
Yeah, I seen that, and it was like, he didn't name the DJ that worked for him, which was nice. He didn't reprimand that DJ either that worked for him, which was nice. And, you know, when you're working for somebody, you really have to watch, even when you're working for yourself, you have to watch what you're posting because there's eyes and ears all over the place. You post something just, even if it's not, say, about yourself, but about a family member or whatever, boom, people could take it out of context. Well, that might have been a client or whatever. No, just keep your negative thoughts to yourselves.
Yeah, because I thought that's where he was going to go until I saw the video.
Yes.
And speaking about that, now that I finished my Instagram 30 challenge and been trying to post consistently, I also, when you start to post and you start to get a lot of eyes on your content, you start to get people commenting on your I guess post. And I have a question real quick for everybody. Also for the people in the chat. I was in one of my videos, I said something about managing the timeline, the DJ managing the timeline at your event. And this person had mentioned that they agree with everything I said in the post except for managing the timeline. Their thought was the DJ is there to play the music, but managing the timeline is that of a wedding coordinator. So what are your thoughts? Because I had 2 thoughts.
Well, you know, sometimes you go to an event, wedding, whatever type of event it is, but specifically a wedding, some clients don't hire a wedding planner. And sometimes the venue manager may be like trying to juggle them around this way or that way. Because, you know, the venue manager has experience in doing that. You know, they do so many weddings and stuff. But then they come to us and say, hey, Mike, what's your plans for tonight? What do you think we should do? You know, because sometimes you have a big bridal party. Sometimes you only have the bride and groom that you have to introduce. So you have to juggle it around a lot. But honestly, I think as a DJ, we're the ones who should give guidance. If you're working with a great wedding coordinator, like you worked with a few weeks ago, she was spot on. Sometimes you get a wedding coordinator that is not spot on, and then you're second guessing yourself. So that's when you have to say, listen, wait a second. How long have you been doing this? if they say I've been doing it a year or 2 years, how many weddings did you do? Well, I did 6. Well, I've done a lot more than 6. So here's what we should do. I don't want to step on your toes, but this is what we should do. And if you want to jump on my Facebook page, whatever, gladly do so. You can check out my weddings I've done. So that's why they know I have the experience in doing the introductions, the whole, basically you want the whole beginning of the wedding to be spot on. After that, it's a party, and you don't want to make mistakes. We're all human. We all do make errors. No ifs, ands, buts about that. But I think that DJ is the one who really, everything weighs on our shoulders,
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Kevin?
Well, I'll have to agree with Mike as far as, at least in my area, wedding coordinators are few and far between. So I actually market it myself when I'm doing bridal shows. It's like, I'm sort of an unpaid wedding coordinator
Mm-hmm.
because I know the order of everything. Now, I'm not down to the minute. All I really care about is a start time, an end time, and I let them sort of go with the flow. So I don't have it broken down other than, if they're trying to cram everything in like 3 hours, well, then I know I need to stay on top of them to get through all the formalities to get to the dance. But if they're like, they're doing 5 hours, then it's like, hey, this is the next activity. Whenever you're ready, let me know and we'll roll into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hard fast do it. Now, as far as Mike saying venue people there coordinating it, most of the places I'm at, you don't see anybody. There's a few that they actually do sort of chaperone their facility, but a lot of them, like the one I just did this past weekend, there's owners on property, but they're not there at all. They're not in the building. They're nowhere. So the most part of our, especially in the barns, they're usually hands off because it's like, hey, here's the building. Don't wreck the place. If you do, you're going to have to pay that deposit. You're not going to get it back. But for the most part, I do feel like I am sort of steering the boat, but not regimented to a certain time frame. Now, sometimes the bride will want to go above and beyond that. And I don't know whether she found an AI thing or whatever. And I'll just pencil in there. I was like, hey, things come up. The food might be late. I had a venue where it was just south here, and the food hadn't arrived. So they called. It's like, hey, XYZ restaurant that has catering service. Where's our food? What are you talking about? They had completely lost their order.
Oh.
So now they had to hurry and do that, and they're all jumping like, oh, what are we going to do? It's like, you're here till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's only like 4:30. And they're telling me, oh, it's going to be at least 45 minutes. Like, no big deal. We'll just roll with some more of this, just,
Yeah.
casual music. No big deal.
No.
The rest of the night, the only thing is they had it scheduled where they had people that were there for the food and then other guests that were supposed to be coming after the food was done. So they ended up, some of the ones that weren't supposed to be there for the food, that were just there to party, they came, but there was still plenty of food, no problem. So
Yeah.
it wasn't the end of the world. So I will say, yes, I feel I'm a wedding coordinator for the most part, most all the time.
The one thing I always worry about, especially a barn wedding or an outdoor wedding, especially on a hot day like today, is the wedding cake. The wedding coordinator I worked with, he would not let the bride and groom cut the cake until every guest was done eating. And there was 325 guests at this wedding. And the cake started going like this, like this, like this. And a couple of bridesmaids went up to him and said, listen, that cake's going to fall over. They have to cut it. And he's like, no, not yet. So I went up to him. I said, listen, bud, I don't care if you don't want them to cut the cake yet or now or never. but they are cutting it now because it's going to flop on the floor. Actually, they had to take the top layer off and put it on a separate plate to cut that, because if they went to put the knife in it, it would have just went right off. And they had a beautiful little statue up on top of bride and groom. I'm thinking, how could you, as a wedding coordinator, look at this and you could actually physically see it with your eyes that the cake is supposed to be like this, but now it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Like, no, cut it, get it back into the kitchen, let them dice it up for you, you know?
Okay. And then Will is in the chat.
Hey,
I hope
Willie.
he's being safe while he's driving. And then
Yes.
Cool Thing says he agrees with the comment. And he says, I agree on that, especially as far as a wedding coordinator handling the timeline and the DJ DJing. But see, that's why I don't want to, let me read his thing, because I don't want to jump to what I had said. I agreed on that, especially as an autistic DJ. Doing all that is too much for me. I can't do all of that at one time. All right, so here's...
I understand where Cool Thing's coming from. It would be a lot on his plate for him, and hopefully somebody else would be able to step up, even come in the wedding party, you know, a parent or whatever.
But here's my thing was, because I'm not, my post wasn't about being autistic. My post was basically saying, letting the client know that I don't just play music. I'm there to help you plan from beginning to end. And the way I responded to the person was, I used to think that way too. I just thought the DJ just showed up and played the music, and someone else handled doing the timeline, planning the timeline, and managing it, and telling me when this happens, when that happens, and all that. It wasn't until I actually started doing weddings that I realized that the DJ, they don't have a wedding coordinator a lot of times. So it's up to the DJ. They expect the DJ to sit with them, help keep them on task. I'm not saying, oh, it's time to go buy your dress, or it's time to go pick out the tux and all that. It's the flow of the day. They looking towards me to create what happens at the very beginning and what happens at the end. So after I sent that message, she came back and still, I shouldn't say she, I'm trying to keep it vague. This person said that she stands on what they say, that she never worked with a wedding coordinator. If the client doesn't have one, she doesn't take the gig. So right there, I just said, there's no reason for me to even conversate with this person, because it's obvious this person has no idea of what goes into planning a day for a couple. So therefore, if you never did that kind of, task, you wouldn't understand what my reel was talking about. And then they went on to say that they said they never worked with a wedding coordinator. Then it says something like, what happens when the speeches go too long or a special dance go too long? So you just cut it off? I'm like, right there, that's another thing. That person has no idea of what goes into doing a timeline. And I also tell my couples, we just put down some times here. It's not set in stone. We're always adjusting the time. The thing is, it's just a roadmap, because if you don't have one, if you don't plan, you don't have one, and you just free ball it off the top of your head, you're going to have chaos.
Yes.
Every time. If you don't, it's not like I'm going and saying, oh, it's 6 o'clock, I got to do this, do that. No, it's the couple wants to enjoy their day, but they also want someone to be there to let them know, oh, it's time to do cake cutting, or it's time to do the first dances, or the toast. They kind of like keep them in the moment, but let them enjoy their moment. So that's why I didn't respond back to this person, because I was like, first, when they said they never worked with a coordinator, if that client doesn't have a coordinator, she wouldn't do it. And I was like, see, therefore you don't understand what the whole timeline is, and you just took everything out of context. That's not what a DJ does. A DJ is there to set the mood, set the vibe, and try to create the experience that the couple wants for their wedding.
Yes. Like my first meeting with the couple, I always tell them, I'm here for you 24/7. If you have a question, if you have a problem arising, if you have a problem with somebody in the wedding party, because sometimes the bridesmaids or sometimes the groomsmen might give the bride and groom a little trouble. And actually, twice I had to call bridesmaids. And once I had to call the mother of the groom because she was giving the bride such a hard time. And it's like, you're this mediator, you're the DJ, you're Heinz 57, put it that way, you know?
But I wouldn't, now you going into the realm that the girl was, that this this person was talking about.
It was, yeah.
It's I don't go outside of that. I just create the timeline. As far as mediation and people not getting along, that's on them.
This couple, the venue that they were having it at, they had, like Kevin said, he did the barn wedding. The couple was had the keys, open it up. That's it. Boom, you do what you got to do. Same thing with this couple. They had it. It was just at a grove, and beautiful, beautiful grove. But again, the two bridesmaids were giving her such a hard time. I'm like, it's her day. Let her make her decisions. That's her decision. You're supposed to be there to support her. That's all you're supposed to be doing. We as DJs, we're setting the timeline. I think the three of us here go above and beyond, because my one buddy was a venue manager, and he said this one wedding that he was doing, the DJ showed up 3 minutes before the introduction. He put the speaker up on the stand, plugged the microphone into it, and did a Bluetooth. And he didn't even have the couple song. He had some other song playing for their introduction, and he introduced everybody. Never apologized to say, I'm sorry, I'm late, whatever. 5 minutes before the wedding. Like, how I'm there. If a venue could let me in 2 hours before, I'm grateful. Most venues around here let us in an hour and a half tops to let us in for a wedding. We're, as you can see, I have no hair. That's why, Yeah.
The other thing I will say, and I think Dwayne sort of touched on a little bit, I primarily is the day of, but there is coordinating going on leading up to that day of, and not doing hard, fast times and everything else. Now, I will, and I'm open with them. It's like, you can ask me as many questions as you want, and I will give you my advice with the years of experience. Or if I don't really know, I'll reach out to the gentlemen I'm talking to here and some other people. It's like, hey, this is my situation. Have you encountered this? What is your idea? So I will give them as much information as they want to get from me. I have someone that I worked with at my trucking company, and he wants to have me as a DJ because when we worked together, he always thought I was fun. Well, his wedding was going to be next May. And it's like, okay, my May is pretty open right now. So, and it's like, figure out where you're doing it. And it wasn't going to be closed. But it's like, yeah, it's fine. And I touched base like, hey, I haven't heard from you. Have you figured out the place yet? Now we're doing it in September. Oh, you've moved to a hot month. I said, it's further out, but now you're running into, if you want me, you better find that date and that place to lock me up.
Yeah.
I can't just leave all of September open. So it wasn't so much giving him specific advice, but just general information. I had another client that was going to be at a place where I had heard it was changing management, taking care of the place. It was reverting back to the owners, and they weren't letting anybody sign a contract. So I have some people in the know, and I touch base with them, and goes, yep, heard about that, know what's supposed to be happening, this is what. So I reached out to the client, and I said, this is what I found out. It's not the end of the world. They're making you wait until the ownership management team contract is ended. It's reverting back, and, so no big deal. Okay, all right, So, I help as much as they want, but the primary thing is specifically everything about the day.
I love when you get a call from a friend and they say, "Are you open this day?" Like, well, no, I'm booked for a wedding. Oh, geez, me and Jessica are gonna get married that day. Just cancel that other gig. No, I don't work that way. I
That's
don't
an
care.
that
I
would
don't
be an
care.
unprofessional DJ. That's
Yeah,
the
I
ones
mean,
that don't have the contract, and they're basically, even though they're booked, they're always looking for a bigger one. Like, hey,
yeah,
I got it for 750. Oh, now I can get one for 1,000. Then you call the other person who may be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month out. Hey, man, I'm not going to be available.
yeah,
You don't tell them the truth, but they don't care because
yeah.
those are the DJs you really don't want to keep around because those are the ones who are just looking for the bigger buck.
I
And if
actually,
they
I
screw
had a rel
someone, they don't care.
I had a relative do that to me. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm your cousin. I said, I don't care if you're my cousin. I'm not going to be at your wedding. I have to
Yeah.
DJ a wedding. I'm sorry.
I got a
So
contract, and
yep,
I'm a
contract.
man of my word. Yeah.
I got my retainer fee. Yeah, but it's next year. They could find another DJ by then. Listen, they paid me my retainer fee. End the story.
And this,
I'm
I was going to say, this kind of like leads into our discussion tonight. So let's get to the chat and then
okay.
jump into tonight's episode because I see DJ Fire showed up.
Hey, DJ Fire, how you
I guess he
doing?
kind of like, he almost did like the DJ reflex on us. He's eating dinner. He's supposed to be on the show, but at
Yeah.
least he didn't come on the show and then skip early.
Or come on the show and eat while he's on the show.
Well, hey, wait, I do that. I have my little box of Cheez-Its here, so I start.
At least if you're eating, they can see that you're not falling asleep.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's
yeah.
true.
Well, see, a lot of times I'll be responding to people, and it's on my phone because my PC's so far away from me over here. So I'm looking down this way, and I'm responding here, and then I'll look up over here at the computer, and I can see, oh, my head was down. So people, if you think I'm sleeping, I have my phone right here, and I have it down here, so I can respond to the people in the chat.
Yep. So let me see. I know Cool Thing has said a couple of things. Will had asked, do you guys have handwritten intros or are they printed? And we're going to discuss that once we kick into what
Oh,
this segment is about. I said I print mine because my penmanship is terrible.
My eyes are bad.
And then Cool Thing says he has them printed. I thought he said something before that. Oh, he says, with his couples, they plan their entire wedding from start to end. I only handle the music and introductions, and that's it. And then Fire said he'll be on as soon as he gets finished eating. And then, Cool Thing said, can't believe you're still talking about that. Because it's still relevant. All right, let's go.
That was a great night.
Yeah. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about the DJ handoff. What every replacement DJ needs before an event. So, we kind of like talked about it on Buddy's show on Tuesday night, but it was like one of those things I think we didn't show on Tuesday night, but we really didn't go into a deep dive. So I want to kind of like split this show into like at least 3 parts, I believe it is. I know the first part I want to talk about what do we discuss with our clients during our consultation time, and then what do we give what do we give other DJs? For some reason, we can't make it or something happens and we have to pass it off to another DJ. What kind of information do we hand that DJ? Or that's why I was kind of hoping that Will was on the show right now, since he works for a multi-op. And I had kind of like filled in for a multi-op, I guess you could say. What kind of information do you, as far as you being an emergency DJ, what kind of information do you really need to make sure you can go in and handle that gig, especially when it's last minute? You only have a few days to, hopefully a few days, if not a week, to prep. So let's start off with, what do we basically ask our clients, or what are we looking for when we first talk to our clients to get the information that we need?
Now, are you talking about as a handoff one, or just strictly
You.
someone just reaching out to you and you're not getting the handoff?
No, it's mainly you. What do you ask? So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So this is just a cold call, them reaching out, checking you out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Basically, Mike has discussed this a lot, and he's created a hot button with some of the other guys. But I will say I agree. I have a price point in my head and written down and stuff of where I'm at, depending on what they tell me. So basically, I'm asking all the who, what, where, when, and why, and how. I'm asking all those things so I can, it's like, where is it? Okay. Then I start looking. I go on Google. I look at the map view from up above. I'm looking down. I'm zooming in. Okay. It's a barn. Where is this ceremony? Oh, it's way over there. Okay. Now I'm looking at the individual pictures that Buddy says to put, when you do events, that's under the Google Photos for that place. I'm now looking at all them. Then I go to their website. I'm looking at that. One of the things I look at is I look to see if they have it listed how much they're charging for their venue. A lot of them don't do it, so I don't get a good gauge there, because I use that as sort of a number of whether it's lowbrow, highbrow, medium, of trying to find a price point. Again, looking all their site over. I love the sites where they actually have almost like Google Street View, where you can actually walk like you're going through the venue. I've done a few of those, very few. And it's like, oh, that's so cool. So I'm using all that, but I'm basically hoping and planning for a conversation, go over what they want. Is there electric outside if it's a ceremony? Do I have to bring my battery bank? I'm going to factor that into the price, because those battery banks ain't cheap. So I'm wanting to get as much as I can, information-wise, timeline, how long, and then give them a price either in an hour or so, a follow-up. If I got some more questions, or if I know someone else has been there, I'll touch base with them, because I network with a lot of other local DJs. So that's sort of what I do. I also want to know a little bit about them, make sure their musical tastes fit in with me. Like I had one that they didn't reach out to me directly. They just posted on one of these Facebook groups. We need a DJ that's fluent in English and Spanish. I'm out, not even going to reach out to them, so I'm trying to get information from them to see if I'm a good fit. Maybe I'm not a good fit, but maybe Dwayne, who I've had use, help me out, maybe he's free and he would be a good fit. So I can either hand it completely off to him, or try to do a little bit of the legwork, and maybe I get a little something on the side, So that's sort of what I do as far as communication. I want to know all the particulars, as many as I can, and then go from there.
Okay.
Basically, everything Kevin mentioned is exactly what I do also. One of the main topics is what venue are you having it at? Somebody's having it at this venue that's charging $600 a plate, and somebody else is having it at this venue that's only charging $60 a plate. Well, you gauge your price there. I know a lot of DJs have a set price. I don't have a set price. I have a price that I start off with, and I could build from there. But the thing is, you want a comfortable relationship with the client. They're calling you, and they might be having it at the $60 venue. And you might give them your base price, and oh my God, that's a great price. You might call the person may call you that's having at the $600 plate, and you give them that same price. They're like, well, can't you do it a little cheaper? What are you saying? You're paying $600 a plate, but now you want to cheap out on the DJ, and then that just turns me off as a DJ for them. And then I'll just tell them basically, can I call you back tomorrow? I'm gonna figure out a price for you. I really want to narrow everything down for you. But one of the main factors in my pricing is also if they want me for a ceremony. Okay, is this ceremony inside is it inside the venue where the reception is? No, it's located outside the venue. Well, how far away from the venue? Especially a barn wedding, it could be right outside the barn. It could be up in one of the fields. It could be down on the other side of the barn. Is there electricity there? Not, I have to bring my generator with me. I got to bring my battery backups. There's a lot that plays in the factor there. Then they'll say, well, our cocktail hours are not even in the venue either. That's out on the deck. They don't have no electricity out there. So then now you have to have, actually have three setups. You have for the reception, you have for the ceremony, and you have for cocktail hour. So now that adds more into the price. And then some couples will go, well, why are you charging us more? So you explain to them. You have one setup I have a setup for your ceremony, I have a setup for your cocktail hour, and then I have a setup for your reception. Each one I have to set up, break down, set up, break down. And once the ceremony's over, I have music going very softly up where the cocktail hour is going to be. Then I break the stuff down from the ceremony. I go running up to where the cocktail hours. I turn the music up just a little bit higher. Then I march myself into where the reception's at. Make sure everything's set up in there. All my lights are ready to roll because it might be a hot day like today, and a lot of the guests may want to go inside to the venue where it's air conditioned. So now you don't want them walking into dead air. You want some music on for them. So what I usually put on is some yacht rock music, something soothing, and maybe some Frank
the question was, what do you ask your clients?
But what do I ask?
I was trying not to interrupt.
Yeah. My question is, like, where is the venue? You need me for your ceremony, you need me for a cocktail hour, and also for a reception. Is the ceremony inside the venue, outside the venue? How far away from the venue is it? Cocktail hour, is it inside the venue or outside the venue? Again, all that adds into the prices. And then how many people are in your wedding party? Introductions. Do you want parents introduced? Do you just want the bridal party introduced? Or do you want to just be introduced? Some bridal parties, the groomsmen and the bridesmaid will walk in together. Some weddings will be, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our bridesmaids, and they all walk in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our groomsmen. They all walk in. And I love that. It's better than men calling, John and Stephanie and Jeff and Jessica. I think it's so much easier for us, easier for the bridal party because they're more relaxed then, How many speakers do you have, giving a speech? So if they tell me, well, okay, it's going to be the best man and maid of honor, I will tell them right up front, please tell your best man, tell your maid of honor or matron of honor, please keep the speech under 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the max. If you go longer than that, it's coming back on your time for the rest of your night. And then also, are you doing invocation? And then the garter, bouquet.
But you need all this information from the get-go?
I ask it right from the get-go, Kev, because a lot of times the bride and groom will say, oh, geez, we forgot to tell you about this. We want to do this, and you're already planning the whole night out already. It's just different things because I had clients that they wanted to play games at the wedding. As a matter of fact, I just did a wedding that was supposed to be a 3.5 hour wedding. I don't know, a 4.5 hour wedding. They showed up an hour late. The whole bridal party and the bride and groom. Everybody's looking for them. Nobody knew where they're at. They're all texting them. nobody's responding. So now they went from a 4-hour wedding down to a 3-hour wedding. So it's like, well, we want to play the shoe game. We want to play this. We want to do this. We want to gather everybody out on the dance floor, take a big picture. I'm like, when they
Don't
walked
have
in,
time.
I said, you don't have no time. Then I have a bride. I had 2 grooms and asked me, hey, can we go up to the bar, get a drink? I said, stay right where you're at. Don't move. You don't move. We're doing introductions now,
All right.
because the
Yeah.
teacher was
The
asking.
the other thing I will say is, because I do sort of a one-stop shopping, I will say, have you checked out my website? Is there anything you want above and beyond ceremony and reception?
Mhm.
Do you want to do karaoke? Do you want to do trivia on the newlyweds during cocktail time instead of just music? So I check to make sure, because that's all part of the creating the what they want, bundling it together, and giving them a price, a bundled price. So
See, usually around here, like cocktail hour, the bride and groom aren't even there. Bride and groom and the bridal party and parents of the bride bride and groom aren't even there. They usually arrive at cocktail hour with about 15 minutes to spare. They're out getting their photos because by the time they do their ceremony might be at 4 o'clock. That gets done at 20 after 4. Cocktail hour is starting at 4:30 to 5:30. So now they're leaving the venue to go get pictures taken, and they get back. Boom! You have 15 minutes to let them, freshen up, go to the bathroom, whatever, get a drink, whatever, and then off to the races we go.
Yeah. So I look at it like different segments, like 3 segments. The first segment would be like the initial phone call. So there, I'm just trying to figure out the what, when, where, and how I'm going to do it. I usually start off with, small talk, and then try to move into what are their vision, what do they vision their wedding to be? Then I ask questions like something about them giving me like a wedding that they attended. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And try to get like different information from that. And then also I ask them, now what are you looking from your DJ? What will make you happy at the end of the night? That give me something that your DJ will have done to make you happy. That kind of stuff. And then I'll go into the details, like the when, where, and all that kind of stuff. And then that's usually, I don't get into like the timelines and all that kind of stuff till after they book me, because then that's, again, it's going back to kind of like what
Wasted
the topic
energy.
is about. Too much information.
Yeah.
When is
well,
it
it's
too
it's
much?
wasted energy until they've booked you. It's
Right.
like you don't need to know that until, and they might not even figure that out yet. I mean, if they're one of the ones planning like 2 years out or even a year out, they're like, well, we're still thinking about that. You can just sort of start putting ideas in their head, or giving them suggestions or just ideas. But, that's sort of putting the cart before the horse, as, it's like, oh, well, you're doing this. Well, we don't know.
Well,
So-
the thing is, on that aspect, they call you. I love the ones that I need a price on a wedding. What's the date? They'll give you the date. What's the venue? They'll give you the venue. But I just need a price.
That's,
But I need more detail.
yeah.
Why? I can't. You want me for your ceremony? Is your cocktail hour here, or is it inside the venue, or is it outside the venue? I mean, I need to know all this just to set up a price. If I give them a price of X amount of dollars, and then I find out that I have to drive 2.5 miles down the road to do their ceremony that doesn't have no electricity, and now they tell me this 6 months prior to the wedding,
Yeah.
I'm already locked into that price that I gave them. I can't go back on that.
But
I
then that
can give you a
goes
quick
back to
example.
the initial question of the show. It's like, what
Yeah.
questions should you ask,
Would
and what
you
questions
should you answer?
do you
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
information that you
I
don't
can give
need.
I can give you an example. I won't name names. But I know someone. He does a little bit of everything. Not so much the weddings, but he had someone contact. He was like, "Hey, me and so and so's getting married. How much?" He's like, 1,200. Now he's found out it's a 3-hour drive each way. There's a cocktail area. They wanted some other things that he doesn't have available to him because he's not in the wedding realm as deep as he needs to be with gear. So he's now, sort of, because again, he did not ask the pertinent information. He just threw him a number. And so now he's going to have to do what he's got to do because he's already given a number. I did tell him, I was like, well, just go back and tell him, look, I didn't know all the parameters that I'm dealing with in your event. You didn't tell me it's 3 hours away and all these other things. It's like, I'm going to have to revisit this. But he's not, I guess, saying anything.
Yeah, that's where you got to get all the specifics out.
Yeah,
right up in the
yeah.
in the first phone call, because if you don't, then you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, and I do that. I get I'm on Yelp and some of these other ones, and they just want a number, and I won't give them a number on the choices to fill out. I give them the message. It's like, hey, great. I need to know a lot more information. You haven't given me a location, a time frame, how many are there. I don't know anything. So all that I can do, if you give me the date, is like, yes, I'm available on that date, but no, I'm not giving you a number. We need to follow up with a more detailed conversation. Yes. Have a great day. Thanks for considering me. And then what happens is most of the time they ghost me. Now, I don't know whether it's because some other numbnut gave them without knowing the information, I'll do it for 600. It's like, well, have fun with that. I'm not losing money doing something. That's not the goal for my business.
You don't want to run in the red for one wedding or for a couple weddings. I mean, you can't just come out and blurt out a price to a couple and then find out, like you said, 3 hours away, one way. So it's a 6-hour drive. I mean, gas, time in your vehicle alone, driving 6 hours, and then the gas that's going to be eaten up for that. I mean, wear and tear on your vehicle.
And the thing is, I guess he's gonna stay overnight there. They're not providing the lodging. He's eating that cost now too.
I mean, that's right.
So it's like, it wasn't smart. But hopefully it's a lesson learned for future.
I was doing a wedding that was out of town, and I did one a few years back, and I went to U-Haul, rented a van, very inexpensive. Now, U-Haul revamped all their stuff, and just for that one day, it was going to cost me, I added, because you have to pay for mileage, this, that, then you have to fill up the gas tank. So I calculated everything like, okay, it's going to cost me this much in gas. It's going to cost me this much to rent the vehicle. It's going to cost me this much for the mileage. It came out to over $600 just to rent the vehicle. The event was on the event was Friday. I wouldn't have the vehicle back to Saturday, so actually I had to pay for 2 days. Yeah. And even if I rented it during the week, because before you used to be able to call up and rent it on, put my rental in for Friday, but they would give you the weekly rate. Not no more. They don't do that no more. You're renting it on a Friday. I don't care if you call out a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. You're paying the weekends rates on them. So it's like, oh man,
Yeah, this is where because I was going to say, my take on it is that's why I kind of I have a range. I can't give. You can still give them a range,
a starting number.
Yeah, right, starting in the top, and then let them know that the prices will vary based on their needs, and try to get them to do like a phone call. You're trying to lead to that phone call, because at the same time, you're also trying to weed out people that's basically window shopping or it's going to waste your time. So I just throw out a number just to try to weed out all of them.
But sometimes I get backfire. I did that the one time. I gave the mother, the bride called me up and she wanted a price, and the wedding was out of town. I gave her a price of $4,800. Oh my God, we'll book you. Can I send you the whole check? I'm like, I almost choked on my, I'm like, you'll book me, you know? And it was like, she didn't even question nothing. She didn't ask, say,
Yeah.
you come
Did
down.
she
It's
give
just,
you? Did she give you like $2,000 extra to pay for the photographer
For
and the
the other,
caterer?
yeah,
That
all
kind.
the other ones, yes.
no,
That's the scam. I've seen
yeah,
that.
this was legitimate. She booked me. She sent me the retainer fee and sent me all the information. Boom, paid for my parking because the venue didn't have its own parking. I had to go pay in a parkade. She paid for everything. I was like, wow, I can't believe this because I'm so used to people coming back and asking, well, could we work on the figures a little bit? You know, I mean, this lady was like, yeah, it's no problem. I'm like, wow, unreal,
Mhm.
unbelievable.
It's like a corporate event. You know, it's
Yeah,
not our money. We don't care.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got past the what, when, where, and we got all that. We got the price of the package. They signed, they agreed onto it. So now we're to the I guess you could say the next phase of the whole wedding planning part. Now this is where we actually talk to the client to try to, let's say we're
Yeah.
doing the
Guide
wedding
them.
coordinator part.
Yes.
So now we're talking about some of the things that Mikey Mike was talking about with the timeline and making sure their
Yep.
day goes well. So what are some of the
Yep.
questions that you asked there?
For me, basically, I'm old school. I have a paper trail that I basically, once they have agreed, my retainer is very small because I like more of the money coming at the event time. Now, if it's a pricey event and they're adding multiple services, which I do have one booked next year, they're paying a little over 100 a month. By the time they have their wedding in September, they're going to be paid off. So I offer that. And basically, once they are giving me the thumbs up, they want to go, I send out the contract and I either send out the paperwork, a hard copy, or I can send it as a PDF.
When did you
So
book
I
them,
tell,
Kevin?
what was that?
When did you book them?
When did I? Well, I guess it depends on that's some of the information. If they're like Dwayne's,
No,
which
no,
I
no,
didn't
no.
realize.
When did they book you? This couple.
Well, sometimes it's 2 years out. Oh, you mean the one I'm talking
Yeah.
about for the one I'm taking payments?
Yeah.
They booked me.
Don't say it because you're gonna give the price away.
Well,
you
no,
asked the
not really,
question.
'cause that was back in, I think, was right after a bridal show, so it's probably March. Um, so they're adding extra stuff to it. They were going to have me do the efficient, but they think they're going to have I think a family member or friend do it. So I said, if they want to revisit that, that's fine. I said, these are the services they wanted, and they got to that, and it's like they couldn't come up with that much money. I was like, hey, I take payment, and I will give you every time you send money, I will send you then. Here's the new balance on your invoice.
Yeah.
So, and then it's like, that's what they're like, yeah, they're fine. So I'm fine with that. So basically I sent out the paperwork, and then it's like, here's the paperwork. I explained to them on the one page, these are all the things that happen at a reception. They're sort of presented in a logical order, except for the section at the bottom. It's like that's where they can write in their anniversary dance or shoe dance, and then put the number that they want to do these, and they can change up the order. So it's Dwayne knows it because he's used that form. He doesn't like it, but it works for me, and I'm fine with it. So
It's better than the
basically,
one
they
I
can go
had.
down. Well, yeah. So it's basically logically laid out. But if they want to change up the order, if the first thing they do once they come into the room, which is on the flip side and all the names, then they can say, oh, we want to do, like Buddy says, cut the cake. We don't do that around here. The cake is done after the meal.
They're done eating.
Yeah. And usually it's either toast, or sometimes they'll do their first dance and get that part out of the way because they're already up. Everybody's excited. So have them do that. So they can change the order. Right. There's a little space right beside each of the activities. They can put 1, 2, 3, and then jump way down. And so I'm sort of like, I explained the paperwork, and I said, I'll check in randomly, but it's sort of balls in your court. If you have questions for me, I will answer them to the best of my ability or find the answer. If you want to do it on your own, you know, that's fine. I'm not pestering them. That's my thing. I'm more laid back. I'm not up in your face. I sort of don't really get up in your face unless I see you're doing something wrong. Like we did a rehearsal not too long ago, and a lot of these people have never been to a wedding. Well, what happened is the paperwork was filled out, and she was having the best man, and this was a matron of honor, be the first ones down the aisle after the groom and the officiant and the parents already said it. But in the bridal party, they were the first ones. Like, well, normally that's not the order.
Yeah.
Normally they're the ones coming the very last, except for the ring bearer and the flower girl. But they're the last ones because they're sort of your chaperones. They're your helpers. So they're the last ones. They're staying as close as to you as possible. The other way I said it when I explained to her is like, basically it's the least important people you throw up there first, and the most important are the last ones.
Yes.
It's sort of a weird, not the nicest way to say it, but
But it's the
just
truth.
getting the point. Well, she didn't want to do that. So it's like, okay, that's fine. There is no law. It's not like it's, you're not going to be legally married if you don't follow it. It's like, okay. So we went it with her way. Well, then in the process of doing that, I think everybody got together and just said, hey. And so she goes, hey, can we change that up and do? It's like, yeah, that's fine. All right. I go with the flow. I will tell you what's right and what's wrong, but it's your day. You do it any way you want. It's like have it your way at Burger King. Just kidding. So
new sponsor.
that's what I do. Yeah, it's our new sponsor. So that's what I do. Like I said, I'm not confrontational. It's just I explain, this is the way they do it. They did the paper runner. And I was like, these are one of the questions I asked. It's like, okay, you're doing that, which my sister did it at her wedding. And it's like, what are you using to hold it down? What do you mean? It doesn't want to roll out. You have to either tape it down or a brick or something. And even then it would probably slide out. I said, I don't know. So the wedding came and I was there for the rehearsal. These are all things that I discussed with her the day before that they need to make plans for. Day of, basically, the flower girl stood on it, and the father of the bride come around the corner and stood on it. And I went over because my song was already playing, and I stood on it while the guys tried to roll it out. Unfortunately, she had bought a roll. Sorry, I'm getting off tangent. She had bought a roll where the center core had creased and folded, so it wasn't staying straight. So you couldn't get it to even roll. So I told the guys, I was like, you're gonna have to roll it all the way down. And luckily, she had picked a nice long song, so we were still running that song. But I told her, it's like, the other thing is, when do you want that rolled out? Do you want just the flower girl on it and then you, or do you want everybody else? Because that affects the timing of when you're going to do it. And she said, I'd like to have it just before. I said, you can't really do it. You can't have the flower girl go down and then roll it out because then the petals aren't on it. So I said, ideally, if you don't want anybody walking on it but you and the flower girl, so that's when they did it. So, again, this is advice I give, but I'm not insistent. Like I said, I'm sort of a go with the flow. I will tell you what's the norm, and I will tell you what's not the norm, but, at the end, it's your day.
That's basically how I am. I'm very easygoing. I tell the couple, I made this form back 2 weeks before the wedding. And on the form, I sent Dwayne my form. It has a list of the bridesmaids listed in order. Then your maid or matron of honor, best man, bride and groom. Is it Mr. and Mrs. Or I had a couple. They're both doctors, medical physicians, and they wanted to be called Mr. and Mr. David Williams and Mrs. Jennifer Hutchinson, or Dr. Jennifer Hutchinson. It's like, wait a second. Yeah, I even questioned. I said, who's coming to your wedding? Is it family and friends from this area? Because they had moved out of the area. They said, well, we only have a few family members left in our area. We don't have that many friends from this area, but we want to get back. We want to get married in my mom's church. We want to have the reception in my mom and dad's town. Okay, no problem. So who's coming to your wedding? Well, basically our friends our friends from out where we live now. And I said, okay, are they just neighborhood friends? Oh no, they're our friends. They're doctors. I said, well then, why do you want me to introduce you as Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so? They know you, they know your doctors already, so why do that? Everybody that's at the reception knows you're a doctor. Everybody at the reception knows he's a doctor. That just kills me when they want something that specific. Basically, I tell the couples anything could change up until 10 minutes before the wedding. You know, somebody might get sick in the bridal party. They can't come in during the announcements. I had one occasion. It was the grandfather of the groom. He had her on the take number 2. What do? Ladies and gentlemen, having a little technical difficulties here. Anyhow, I did something on my mixer. And as I'm working on it, so just give me some time. As soon as I seen Grandpa come back, boom. I said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get back to doing our introductions now. You have to dream. You have to think out of the box sometimes. It's just, you can't have everything scripted. Everything's not perfect in life. If everything was perfect in life, guess what? We'd be living a boring, boring life. There's just things that we need to know up front. How many people are in the wedding party, their names. The one thing I do stress to every couple is nobody is called Mr. and Mrs. except for the bride and groom. Your parents they're not Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Mr. and Mrs. Timmick. It's Pat and Joe, and it's Lisa and Mike. You know, parents of the bride, Pat and Joe, parents of the groom, Lisa and Mike. That's it. The only two that I call Mr. and Mrs. that day are the bride and groom. That's how I feel. I know it's just it's a funny thing that I thought of in my head, like, why would you introduce parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. so-and-so, parents of the groom, Mr. and Mrs. so-and-so. Then you get down to the bride and groom, and it's like, well, they heard Mr. and Mrs. already twice. Now they're hearing it a third time. No, just leave them all blank. No Mr. and Mrs. The only that's Mr. and Mrs. is the bride and groom. That is it. And the story. What I like to do, I have one bride, this was great. She did everything right in the beginning. She did their first dance, parent dances, cake cutting, the dollar dance, threw the bouquet. She didn't do no garter or anything. Well, she didn't even throw the bouquet. She took the bouquet and gave it to her mother. But everything was right in the beginning of the night. And so they sat down, they ate. Once people were done eating, the cake was already cut up. They got it on the plate. I'm playing music already. It was great. I mean, I was playing dance music by 7:15.
Okay,
That's
so what was the? Remember, the question was, what do you ask your couples?
What I ask the couples is, what do you like? How are we going to come in? What is, especially my planning? You'll see how it's worded. That's I want all that filled out and give it to me 2 weeks before the wedding. All the other stuff, the only thing I want way before that, if they book me a year out, the contract has to be back to my hands in 2 weeks. If not, that date's open again. But everything's laid out in my wedding planner. I explain everything to them there. And then I tell them, listen, anything could change up until 10, 15, even 5 minutes before, or even during the introductions. Stuff can change. You don't know. Believe me, I've seen stuff that did happen. And the DJ, I was at an event, the DJ didn't know how to react. He was like, he was stuck for words like, oh, what do I do? It's like,
What
dude,
question? No, we're not talking about other DJs. We're talking
no,
about
no.
you
Yeah, I know, but
specifically. What do?
I'm thinking to myself, if I was in that position, I would just boom, skip over that person, go right to the next person. You have to, again, as a DJ, you have to think out of the box. You have to prepare yourself for something, for the worst scenario, but you're planning on the best scenario. You're planning on what you have in front of you on your timeline. And that's what I go by.
Okay.
So what I asked the couple, I said, here's my timeline. If you have any questions, feel free to call me.
Yep.
I will help you in any which way or form, and it's so self-explanatory. Honestly, a first grader could fill it out,
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, I sort of let them roll with it as like, I'm here for you, fill it out. But when I get it back, I do a deep dive into every question. And then there's even questions they're not even on there. I want to be proactive instead of having to be reactive.
There's one thing that I will tell the bride and groom. If you are thinking about doing your introduction to Highway to Hell, I will not play that song for your introduction. And they look at me like, why? Well, you're going to have children, right? You're a young couple. Yeah. Right now it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's whatever social media. 25 years from now, or say 16 years from now, somebody's, there's everybody with their camera, their phone, they're recording everything, and they're uploading it to social media. And your kids are 16 years old, they type in the parent's name. All of a sudden they see mom and dad, and they're walking into the reception saying, singing Highway to Hell, and they're going like, Mom, Dad, why would you come into a song to that on your wedding day? You're not going to hell. It's supposed to be the most joyous day of your life, So I'll tell them, I'll play that any other time during the night. I'll play your introduction. Please pick out. I'll play any other AC/DC song for you. But Highway to Hell, I will play that one for your introduction.
Yep. But my thing is when you go that middle section after you got booked. So the next part of the planning a wedding is to ask basic questions like songs for their special songs, who will be doing what, like the toast, the officiant, the order of the bridal party, and all that kind of stuff. And then I try also to get a feel of their musical taste. Yes, I might ask what kind of genres you like, but I like to have specific songs because even genres, it could be broad. It's very broad. Just give me, I don't need a whole, 100 Spotify playlist kind of thing, but I just need a few songs so I can get an idea of where I'm going to go. Because
they could say R&B. Well, R&B from the 70s is different than R&B of today. It's just there's a big difference with R&B from back in the 70s to R&B of today. It's just even rock. They'll say rock. Today's rock. Okay, and I have to start looking. So I don't even know a lot of the rock bands from today. If you say 80s hair bands, yeah, I'll name every single one for you. That's no problem there. But they just generalize just rock. Okay, today's rock, 90s rock, 80s rock, 70s rock. Give me a specific there.
Yeah, I like to ask them to give me a few songs to kind of like I can get a gauge between the songs they picked, then also the songs that they put for their special dances or their interests. Because I got the generic, we want 1990s pop and all that kind of stuff. But then when I looked at the cake cutting songs and their interests and all that, I noticed they picked a lot of that Celtic, Irish kind of songs.
Celtic, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I probably need to, and then if it wasn't that, it was more so the Motown kind of songs. So it's like I probably need to weigh in on that and try to test things out during dinner to see what kind of reaction I'm going to get. And then also look at the ages to determine what I'm going to do for open dances. But I was going to
I
also,
guess
I asked what kind of crowd do they expect to be at their wedding? Are they a party group or a dancing group? Or what kind
Yeah.
or I use the Bible app.
or
Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm just that's one of the things that's sort of not specifically on my question, but it's like, do they want outgoing and this and that? And I was like, hey, do you guys go dancing? Do you or do you not? Does your friends go dancing? Is there now? See, I'm in a disadvantage as far as going dancing because there's nothing around here. There's no clubs. I don't live in a club town. I don't live in Cleveland. I don't live in Columbus. I live in a bar situation, and yeah, they have a DJ maybe come in or whatever. So it's like one of those things where I try to gauge. The other question I have, and I hadn't really thought about it until you sort of touched almost onto it, because when you said Motown, does anybody out here ask what race they are?
No. Race has no bearing
I
on it.
used to think that way, but I got
Well,
screwed
'cause-
so many times. I was like, I don't
Well,
think that
that's
way
why I
anymore.
was thinking Motown. I was like, oh, are they, are they blacks? Are they African Americans? Or, because I didn't know the one event that you helped me out with. I didn't know that situation. And,
Yeah, but
and it's like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't know that was, in play, because it's one of those things that I don't have on my question. Now I know if they specifically say, like this one that I saw, it's like, well, we need a fluent DJ in English and Spanish. Okay, that's probably a mix. Or, you were going with the Irish Celtic kind of thing. So, is that, over there? Or if they say Bollywood, I don't know that I'd want to play in that realm. Even though everybody said, "Oh, they're party animals" or whatever. It's like, yeah,
I bet you they are.
but I don't
they are.
know that I would do it justice. So I would bow out. I mean, if they wanted me, it's like, okay, yeah, I got the equipment. I'd have to bring someone that knows that, and either have them as the MC or me MC, and they do the music. It would have to be a collaboration. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it myself because I want to do them justice. And I mean, if they're comfortable, it's like, oh, we'll feed you all the music. We want you because you're fun or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm just letting you know that maybe I'm not ideal. So I don't have to, I'm not a pig and I don't have to take every event. I want to take an event that I can feel I can do it justice.
Right. That's how the Kingwood event was that you came to help me with. Because remember, he had a lot of French songs and foreign songs, but he fed me a lot of songs. So therefore, and then too, I also had time to basically study that style.
Yeah.
Listen to the song, kind of like got an idea of what kind of vibe those songs were.
It was.
Then,
what does it match up in the American realm as far as the dance and the general how it's the beat is and everything? Yeah.
And then also put those songs into like a Spotify playlist. Because then at the bottom of Spotify, they'll say based on the songs in this playlist, then they'll give you some other songs.
Here's
and you
some
can
more.
kind of like try to match each one.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, I learned, when I first started DJing, there were certain things I didn't want to ask because I thought if I asked that, they would think that I didn't know how to DJ or they would think less of me. But sometimes just basically ask them, just straight up ask them, and you'll get your answer a whole lot quicker as opposed to stressing over it.
Oh yeah. Kelly, you made a point about Motown, are they African American or are they black? Mm-hmm. I got called to do a gig. It was a bar gig, country bar. So automatically, what music are you gonna play? Country music. That's what I was thinking. Guess what? All it was is hardcore rap. That's all they wanted to hear. I'm like, wow. Where did this come from? Now, going back to different weddings and stuff, I've done 3 Indian weddings. Each Indian wedding was totally different because India is such a diverse country. This section of India only listens to this type of music. This section of India only listens to this type of music. And this section of India listens to this type of music. I did an African and then an American wedding. The bride was from America. The groom was from Ghana. His whole family came over. They're super, super wealthy. He supplied me with the music that he wanted to hear from Ghana. I'm thinking, what the heck kind of music am I going to get into? Like, how's this going to gel? Well, I put it on and I started listening to it. I'm like, wow, this is basically like American music, except there's no F-bombs, no N-words, no this, no that. I'm like, this is great music. Why can't Americans listen to this? I mean, they were singing in English, but you didn't have to worry about, do I have to edit it? Everything was pure and clean. It was such a pleasure doing something like that. It was unbelievable. I mean, I will attack and attempt to do any type of a wedding or a type of event that I possibly can. The hardest events to do, and not to break up the subject from weddings, is graduation parties, because kids are crazy today.
Remember, we're talking about timelines and questions that we asked the couple. Because see, that's why I sent you those chat comments. That's why.
Going back to the questions about a wedding is, what music do you want? Because, like I said, that couple, the groom was from Ghana, the bride was from America, so he had a whole playlist from me. The Indian weddings, the one was an American and Indian. The other one was, both of them were for India, but they live here in America now. He wanted some Indian music. She wanted all American music. So that's a main factor. Don't be afraid to ask that question, because you don't know. I mean, don't just assume because they put 70s or 80s or whatever, or R&B and Motown or whatever. Ask them, is there anything specific that you want to hear? One thing I do have on my wedding planner is a do not playlist. I know a lot of DJs don't like to hear that. I do, because I ran into a situation. The bride's brother requested a song for the groom. Bride's brother played a song for the groom. Yeah, no problem. Bride's eyes got about so big as silver dollar. She came right over. She goes, who requested the song? I said, your brother did. She goes, this is the groom's song to his ex-girlfriend. I'm like, oh my God. She goes, can you please get it up? I'm like, yeah. She went over there and she started screaming at her brother. So I have a do not playlist. For a playlist, I asked them for minimum 10 songs, maximum 20 songs, if they want me to take requests. Don't give me more than 20 songs if you want me to take requests. If you do not want me to take requests, give me at least 35 songs. This way I know I will get them for you, because throughout the course, there's other things that are coming up that you have to announce this, or you have to announce that. Sometimes they might pick out a long song that might be, like, I'll give you, for example, Meatloaf, Paradise Butter, Dashboard Lights. That's an 8-minute and 36-second song. It's like, wow. You have to try to gauge everything else into that. So you have to be, especially when the wedding's getting closer, be a little bit more specific. You're getting a general idea when your first question, but as the wedding's getting closer, say, okay, give me that playlist that you have, your do not play, and your playlist that you do have for me. I suggest to every bride and groom, if you want to have your guests feel like they're involved in it, in your invitation, I have it typed up. I'll send it to you. You cut it up. You could, copy it, cut it up, and put it in your invitations. Let each guest pick out 2 songs. You're going to get repetitious Cupid Shuffle, Macarena, Electric Slide. They are a given. But you may get some other songs that, you're like, oh my God, I didn't think of that. That's going to fit great for our wedding. So you put that on the playlist that you want to hear that night. This way, when you have a couple or somebody coming up and say, hey, can you play the song? And it's on the do not playlist. It's like, well, nope, I'm sorry. I can't play that one, but hey, I got this by the same artist. Or here's the playlist from the bride and groom. Want to pick out something from there? Because again, I made the announcement in the beginning of the night. The bride and groom are they have a playlist and we're not straying from that. It's a do not request night tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say earlier that I use the Bible app, and there's a section for the guests. So I encourage my couples to send it out to the guests, or at least the bridal party, and then they can have their input with the songs and stuff. And so let's get to the chat real quick, and then get into the third phase of planning a wedding. So we got through the sales call. You booked it. Now we got through the planning, and then we're gonna get to what do we do? What kind of questions do we ask on the day of? So Buddy says, but you can get too deep in the weeds with stuff. And I forgot specifically. I was trying to mentally remember when that popped up what we were talking about.
Yeah.
It must have had something to do with. I don't even.
Was that when Mike was going into like who all's going to do this and that and the other, and we're still trying to get it booked, where he was sort of jumping? Was that
Probably.
at that point in time?
Probably.
Maybe.
And then Cool Thing said he doesn't look at race and age because he plays whatever he wants. And Nuke.
Well, I have that as one of my questions: is when did they graduate? So from that, I can get the information of how old they are, and I usually will use graduating age as maybe a point in time where maybe music was a little bit more important to them, and sort of, especially if because I have a section where it's their age or graduation date and then artists, and then it's broken down into decades. We like the 70s, 80s, we got the 90s, 2000s. So they can circle, and then they can actually just write artists. So I sort of use all that to sort of create what they want, if they don't give me a list of like what Mike was talking about.
Yep. So Nuke has said, I can literally get a person's genuine musical taste when I say, send me your favorite playlist you're playing right now, and works perfectly before suggesting songs. And then Cool Thing says, they trust him with his music selection. And then Anouk went on to say, especially before a couple is trying to please everybody, stressing about their music, which isn't them at first, I help out with suggestions if needed, or also have a good gauge of their musical taste. And that also goes with the one good thing about the Bible app. You can also, if they get stuck, they can look at the song suggestions, and there's a whole bunch of different songs, either from the Billboard or, the top 100s or favorite first dance songs or processional songs and all that kind of stuff.
Another thing I'll throw out there before I forget. I have done this in the past. It was more in the past than currently because there's just too many choices. But I'll say, what radio station do you like? Or since it's XM, what XM station do you like to listen to? Then you can go on there and start listening to that. If you're traveling around, it's like, okay, I got this wedding coming up. They like this one. Let me listen to some of the songs on there. Okay, they like this one also. There's some of the songs on there. And sort of use that to create another way to analyze the songs, even if they didn't give them to you. You now know what they like to listen to on XM or a regular radio station.
One question I'll get from a couple is, we're inviting our neighbors, and some are elderly. Some of our relatives are elderly also. What kind of music should we play? I said, well, if you're having them there, if they're elderly and it's a summer wedding, by 8:15, they're saying their goodbyes. So you throw some 50s and 60s on for them, maybe some disco, like early 70s. They'll love it. And honestly, a lot of the younger people love that music too. It's so funny because you'll hear some DJs say, don't play 50s, don't play 70s. 60s is a screwed up era. I don't really do a lot of 60s music, but 50s and 70s, that hits home with people that are in their 70s and 80s even, so it's, you can't please everybody, but you want to make sure you have try to cover every genre
Mhm.
for your wedding. I mean, even if you don't like polkas, but Aunt Sophie's there, put a polka on for her. The last time she was at a wedding was 10 years ago. That might have been the last time she heard a polka at a wedding. Maybe she didn't hear one at that wedding, So you put one on, Aunt Sophie's going to be like, wow, I heard a polka at Mike's wedding.
Right.
It's just different little things like that. What your guests are giving you a gift. Your gift back to them is the meal, but the biggest gift is the music. And music goes the furthest. The meal they'll forget about. They'll never forget about the music. Honestly. That's a given fact right there. So I tell every bride and groom, try to hit as much of every genre as you can. And not towards the end of the night, but say if your reception's getting over at 10 o'clock, well, by 8:30, quarter to 9, basically the elderly people out, man, we'll start jamming onto your stuff. It just, you're pleasing everybody. You're keeping the whole crowd into it, And that's what you want to do. Because again, they're giving you a gift. It might be $100, it might be $500. You don't know what it's going to be. Maybe nothing, but they're there attending your wedding for you. So it's your gift back to him is the wedding. At the wedding is the music and the food, but the music is the biggest part of it. Believe me, it goes so far. 5 years from now, they'll still remember the music. Ask them what they ate. They won't remember.
Okay. And then Nuke says, luckily, I only require my big three: introductions, first dance, and parent dances. After that, I'm trusted to read the room, along with the 20 must plays and don't plays. And, yep, that's what I pretty much do. And then Buddy says, Vibo is great. Customers love it. And
I'm like Kevin. I'm old school.
Huh?
I'm old school like Kevin Paper.
I like anything electronically because I'm not good with keeping up with paper and stuff. Because I'll sit things down and forget about it.
I got a briefcase, so everything gets sort of contracts, everything gets put in there. And that goes
I scan everything. I put it on my computer in a folder, and it gets backed off up to 2 different hard drives too.
Yeah. That's why I just rather be on a computer and just have it digital to begin with. And then I guess Buddy and Hunter's going back and forth. Yes, it's not about you. It's about playing to your groups. So not unless you're playing to your family and friends, that's one thing. But yeah, if you're playing for strangers and things, they're hiring you to play what they want to hear.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a quick example. This next week, I do MC and music provided for a county fair for the whole grounds. So I know to play a wide variety. Now, I do move it around depending on what day it is, because there's a Armed Forces Day. They get in for I don't know whether it's a free or a discount, and they get a lunch at lunchtime for free. So I know during that time frame, it's not everybody, but a lot of the people that are going to that are retired, they're elderly, they're looking for something, a handout, which is the free meal, and they can get to wander around the fair for free or whatever. So during that time frame, early on, I have a military medley that I play, and I also highlight more older music. Now I still, because they have told me as much, and so I have the system that I do. Every third song I always play as country song because it's a fair and everybody supposedly is supposed to want country. I question that, but that's what what's works. So during that time frame, I'm playing older songs for the people that are there for that military day, along with the country. Other days, it's like a kid's day. All the rides are free. Okay, so the kids are going to be youth oriented, so I'm going to play not so much Baby Shark, but I'm playing more Sabrina Carpenter, younger kids songs that they enjoy, maybe like BTS, some other ones of that kind of realm. And then as the day goes on, when the kids' day is over and the rides are now back to regular price, then I move back to a little bit of 60s, a little bit of 90s, a current song. I'm always rotating around and again, always throwing in that country song.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying as far as playing a variety of music because I'm not the biggest fan of country. So if I had to go someplace and listen to country for 15 minutes, yeah, I'm probably going to leave, you know. So I like a variety. That's one of the reasons I love doing the fair because I get to play a little bit of everything. Now I do keep it G-rated, so I'm not doing the hip hop and the rap and all that stuff. So it's basically like a radio station locally that just plays the best of the best, the hits.
Oh,
Yep,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, Kev. You hit it on the nail. You hit the nail on the head. You want to keep everybody involved in it because you know you don't want to push certain guests out the door because you're playing this type of music. You want everybody to enjoy themselves. Going back, you say you don't like country. I had to do a country. I had to do a wedding. And
we still got a lot of the show to go. You keep wanting to get off track.
Well, no, I was just emphasizing on his. He would have.
No, it's like we're trying to get to the point of the whole show.
Yeah, I know. But
Part 3.
Again, you want to keep everybody involved in the whole wedding. You don't want to push certain people out the door quicker. Then
let them naturally
on their own anyhow.
Yeah.
That's why you ask. That's a question that you need to make sure you ask your client.
Well,
what age groups do you have there? What is the makeup of the whole group?
Usually they'll ask me, Mike, we're having a bunch of people from our neighborhood and they're in their 70s or 80s or 60s, late 60s. What kind of music should we play for them? You know this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you. I know what to play for them. So I like to take requests. I really do. Up until a point of certain types of music I will not play at a wedding, especially stuff, the F-bomb, N-word, stuff like that. No, I don't care, even though there's no children there. It's inappropriate. At the end of the night, it's only the younger people there. Yeah, I'll drop anything you want to hear. But when the elderly people are there, no, I won't do that in front of them.
Yeah. Okay, get into the chat. Buddy says, I asked not only what songs they like, I also ask them what not to play. I don't want them to pick every song of the night. I just want to make sure that it speaks about the couple.
Yeah. One thing is I can't stand is when they give you a Spotify playlist and say, play all this for me. It's like, why are you hiring me then if you want to just play from A to Z? I had couples do that.
Yeah. And then Buddy asked, are you playing Mac Miller's The Spins? I played it because Buddy had mentioned it a while back and he gave it to me.
Could we have Buddy come on and sing it? Because I don't know that song. Buddy, would you like to come on?
Oh, no, because you remember last time it was supposed to have been his wife talking, and it was him doing a lot of the talking.
DJ Fire's trying to get on, Dwayne. He said he couldn't get on.
Yeah, but we're almost done now.
Waiting room?
Like,
yeah.
We have to get him next week.
Yeah, that's right, Tracy. Tracy wasn't talking that much. I think Buddy kept on cutting her off, didn't he?
And then Anoop says, exactly, I'm on the #1 top 40 radio locally, although syndicated. Folks who reach out pretty much want the can you do like you do on the radio thing, which is almost always going to be later. So, yeah, they want to go out and be ratchet towards the end of the night.
Yeah.
And then Buddy said, yep, who is coming to the event? Play to the guests, have them cheer dancing, and then have them singing along.
Mm-hmm.
And then after show, maybe for a short moment. I keep saying that each week and it ended up being long. So tonight I bought all my cables and all that stuff. So while you all are chatting it up, I can be rapping my chords and getting everything together. I want to do my tech walkthrough tomorrow to be ready for Saturday. Like sending my Mackie Thumps in these weird places and seeing how I can wirelessly transmit it to it, going around corners and all this stuff, trying to emulate what I'm going to run into at the barn.
X5.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I got that, but I haven't been overly impressed with it.
I had mine about 165 feet away from me. No problem. No
yeah,
problem.
But
whatsoever.
I learned that doesn't mean anything, because once you get people there with their cell phones and all the other stuff, and it's trying to go around corners.
I'm 6'3", and my speaker, I was using my QSC CB10s. They were probably, the bottom was probably about 6.5 feet off the ground. So the top was closer to 7 foot off the ground. That was it. You know, it was just, I had the transmitter up on top and the receiver up on top of my EV, and they were just basically.
You mean you took your X Vibe?
Yeah.
So you just had a little like short, like a 3-foot cord, and you sort of Velcroed it or
I would
tied it to keep it up
handle.
on top.
Yep.
Okay.
Because
I've even tried that. We tried using, what was it, that in a mall for Halloween.
You got to
And
remember, make sure you raise them up nice and high. If you're going to keep them like 6 foot off the ground, basically, there's a lot of people 6 foot and taller today. So a 6 foot person, you're hitting them right in the face. You might get some guys and even women that are 6'5", 6'4". Now you're hitting them in the chest. So that's a body that has to go through. You put the base of your speaker at 6.5 feet. Your top is at 7. Now you have your X5 up on top of that. You're like 7 feet 2 inches off the ground.
Okay.
Yep. And then Anouk has said something about try doses and mimosa. So I'm going to look that up after we get off the stream. Cool Thing said, awesome show. Thanks, Cool Thing.
Thanks, Cool Thing.
And Big J DJ Services says he tried X5 once for wireless and was not impressed at all. Sennheiser body packs are amazing. And I have the XLR dongles from them.
The Sennheiser body packs, you're talking about $900?
That's buddy stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's out of my price range. And believe me, the X5s, they work perfect for me. I don't know if anybody tried the X5 5, the wireless microphone.
No,
I've used it as the microphone. I've had better luck with it as the microphone than I have as a satellite speaker.
No, this is just a microphone that they came out with now. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did come out with that. I've also bought the Phoenix version of the X5.
Yeah,
because they have that too.
But that microphone that they came out with, Dwayne, that would be something. If you need a spare microphone, just boom into your mixer or right into the speaker. You plug it, and away you go.
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
Handy for karaoke.
And then Buddy said, "You buy once and cry once." And it's something that
I got a double guess. I got to double that on Buddy. He bought once and he cried twice with his Asteras. He bought the Asteras and one died on him, right?
No, somebody knocked it over. It was a guest that had bumped into it.
But who's crying?
Yep.
He has to be crying a second time then, right?
But let's get into, since it's, because at the same time, I don't want to stay too late either. So let's get into the third phase of like wedding planning. So the third phase is we're going to the wedding event. So what kind of questions do you ask there of different people? It could be the vendor, it could be the clients or whoever.
First question is, what time is the venue going to be open so I can get in the setup?
Yep.
Who's going to be arriving? Will you be coming there to get ready? Because some venues do have place for the bride and grooms to actually go and get ready. The bride's on one side of the building, the groom's on the other side of the building. What time are the other vendors coming? What time is the staff will there be at least one or two members of the staff going to be there while I come in and set up early, you know? And if they say, well, you can't come in till 2 o'clock, well, your ceremony's at 3 o'clock. So now you're giving me an hour and your reception starts at 4. It's like, this is crazy. I got 2 hours to do everything. An hour for your wedding and an hour for your reception. And you got people walking around, and then it's excuse me, pardon me. But the main thing is, what time is the venue opening? Can I get in early, set up? What vendors are going to be there? Staff members. What time are the vendors going to start arriving? Most of the time they tell you what vendors they're having. On my wedding planner thing is, you can see it. Are you having a videographer? Their name. Photographer, their name. So this way I know when they walk in, hey, how you doing, Casey? Hey, George, what's happening? They're like, you know our name? Yeah. Here's the layout for today. And then I hand them everything, what time this is happening, what time that's happening. That's if they don't have a wedding coordinator. If they have a wedding coordinator, then I work with her, then I'll say, okay, here's everything, but I'm scratching this time out and putting the wedding planner's time or wedding coordinator's time frame in there, But basically, what time are those doors opening for us to get in there to set up?
Yeah, I try to ask that before I get there, or at least not before I get there, but before the wedding date, or at least try to do a site visit to see when I can get in, where to load in, where the outlets will be, what time do I have to be off the venue or off the premise, and then the day of, I try to find the other vendors. So if I'm the person that's in charge of doing the timeline and all that, I try to have extra copies of the timeline and meet with each one of those vendors to make sure that we are all on the same page, or if we need to move something around, we all can make sure we handle it right there. So make sure I'm playing the right music and the photographer and all of them are in their right spots, or make sure everything is running smoothly for the caterer with the food and all those different kind of things. So that's what I try to ask when I get there.
You wouldn't believe the videographers and photographers and even like venue managers, when I hand them a timeline, if they don't have no wedding planner or wedding coordinator, and I hand them a timeline, they're like, is this for us? I'm like, yeah. Wow, you're a really proficient DJ. No other DJ handed us this stuff. They're second guessing, like, oh, what do we do? When's Mike going to do the introduction? When's Mike going to do this? No, they have it already in front of them, so they know when everything's going to happen. I don't want to be left out in the cold, and I don't want to leave them out in the cold either.
Right, and Buddy brought up a good point, because I had thought about this today. He said one thing is to ask the officiant how they end, so I can have the recessional ready. Also remind them to move out of the shot of the people kissing, because I had thought about that today. Because what I like to do is put everything in order, and I have my crates right in order. So I'm moving from one crate to the other crate and have the times next to it so I can visually see what time each thing is happening. So I have like processional, then I put 4 o'clock. Then I have like dinner. Then I have 6 o'clock and all that stuff. So I can kind of like see it too. But also I had thought about, as I run through these songs, I also listen to the songs. So I can kind of like get a vibe of how the songs are flowing and how it's fitting. Because especially when they have like the anniversary dance and all that stuff, when I start DJing, when I first started doing weddings, that used to freak me out. It wasn't the anniversary dance per se. It was because I needed to know, now I got everybody on the floor. Now I need to be able to follow up the anniversary dance, the song. Because I have played a song that was a banger right after the anniversary dance, but it only lasted for like a minute or two, and then it died down. It wasn't like I didn't look at the whole flow of the whole night leading up to that to warm it up to, once I got them on the floor, keep everybody on the floor. So I try to go through all that. But I was saying that to say this. When I was going through each song with this couple, they don't have different songs for each section, like a lot of other weddings I've done. They're the bridal party and the bride and all that, they have the same song. So it's almost like I have to find a way to differentiate the big moment for the bride. So on Saturday, I got to definitely make sure I see who is the last person in the bridal party when they come down for the ceremony. So I know to automatically start turning down the music. So therefore, I know the officiant is going to say what she's going to say to play the next song. And the same thing for, just like Buddy said, when to hit that point for them to leave.
That's part of my, usually the week before leading into, is that's my deep dive and another thing I do, because I go to the rehearsals. Not all the time. If they want to pay me, I will. If not, I need to know what the order is and who's the last one coming into that song. And then whatever the next song is, who's the last one to that song. And then if it's, traditionally the flower girl, which usually sticks out because she's dropping petals, when she gets up in place to bring it down. The other thing I do is I find out, if I go to the rehearsal, is that officiant someone who knows what they're doing? Are they a preacher? They've done hundreds of them. Then I let them take the ball and run with it. I just and that's what happened this recently, is the officiant, he took the ball, got them lined up and everything and ran with it. Then I overlaid the music to make sure we had enough song to get everybody down. If they didn't know the song, okay, here's the end of this song. This is when the officiant's going down.
Yeah.
And then it was the groom, and he was coming into this song, and I knew he was just one. So the other thing I do, and I don't know whether it's critical, it's just the way I like to do it. I like to know, again, I ask him, it's like, what's the last thing you're going to say? Usually he turns them, and now I'd like to present to you for the first time. And whatever he announces them as, I like to do that exact same way for the announcement into the room for the reception. I try to make it uniform. I don't know that everybody does that, but I do that. So I want to know exactly how he has it on, or what they wrote on my paper. I assume what they wrote on my paper for their intro is the same they gave to him, but I just want to make sure. So this is all things, even down to their special dances. Some people don't want to be the center of attention. Some will actually know that, like, could you cut it at this point? Other ones won't, and I'll say, do you want to abbreviate your song? Do you want to give me a gesture? Do you want me to just, most of the weddings, not all of them, play it out? Well, some people don't like that. Or maybe the parents, maybe the father is not able to stand very well. Maybe he's got some knee issues and stuff. So they'll say, could we do my dad's dance together? Could we short? Sure. That's one of the things I'll ask, is when I'm going through each one of those songs. So it takes me several hours to go through that paperwork. So it's not like it's just, now I know other DJs who whack it out in a half hour. They're sort of like, I don't need all that detail. It's like, I want the details.
I tell, like, well, not tell, but if the couple tells me they want the bride and dad, she wants to cut short, I just tell them, I'll tell her, say, all right, pretend you're rubbing your dad's back, but keep your thumbs up. That way I know when to cut it short. Same thing with the groom. Pretend you're rubbing your mom's back with your thumbs up. This way, the guests don't see that. I mean, they see it, but they don't.
They
put
don't.
Two and two.
They don't connect
together.
it.
Yeah. So that's a simple thing. But one of my biggest things that I dislike, totally dislike, is when the DJ gets out in the middle of the dance floor and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to Joseph and Janine's wedding here at the beautiful Timmins Inn and Resort. Well, first of all, they got the invitation to the wedding, so they know where they're going.
You just love getting off topic. You
And
just love
Well,
doing
no,
it. Did you just?
this is what I tell the bride and groom. I said, do you want me to say where you're going, where they're going to? And they'll say, well, Mike, I'm sending the invitation. I said, well, you watch some YouTube videos and you'll see a lot of DJs announcing the place that they're at, announcing their names. And they said, well, why would they do that? Because you're going to do that during introduction. I said, that's how I feel. But I had some brides that wanted me to say the name of the venue, wanted me to say their names prior to introductions. And it's like, why? Why do that,
Usually the guys that do that are the ones that are very full of themselves and want to do that. And
They want to spotlight on themselves.
that's a not a bone of contention, but with the guy I work with, he likes to be out in the center of the room and sort of, welcome everybody and bring them into the room. Well, because I'm a one-man operation, I can't do that. I have to be at the console hitting this button, that button. I can put a gooseneck mic on a stand so I don't have to hold that, microphone. But I don't go out in the middle of the room. Now I will, because Dwayne, I was curious. I don't know whether he wants to discuss this afterward. You're talking about the anniversary dance. When you were doing your anniversary dance, are you bringing everybody out onto the floor, or are you peeling them off till you just got one couple left that's been married the longest? Which way are you doing them?
Well,
Or
lately,
which way do you tend to end up doing them?
If now, I like to bring them on the dance floor. So, because at
Everybody
the end,
that's married.
right at the end, you have the big
Okay.
everybody on the dance floor to take the big picture.
Oh,
But
so you're
see,
doing the reverse anniversary
Right.
then.
So
Okay.
Saturday they didn't want to do it. Saturday they want to start off with everybody on the floor, peeling them
That's
off.
the way we normally do it. That's
Right,
yeah.
and
them off,
then
yeah.
you have the oldest couple there. They usually give some advice, marital advice, to the younger couple because they want to have a picture just with them. So that's how we used to. And
And I even try to get a couple or a picture
There she
if the photographer's paying attention for if we're doing the garter and the bouquet. I try to get a picture of, the garter winner and the groom, maybe if the bride wants to do it too, and then the bouquet. I try to get them sort of, I try to encourage it. I even try to, when they're doing the toasts, I try to encourage a photography picture if it's feasible of everybody sort of like glasses in the same hand on one side, glasses in the other hand on the other side, and get, like a pre-toast kind of picture. But sometimes the photographers aren't really paying attention or don't see that as a photo op. So
I love doing the anniversary dance, but honestly, a lot of the couples don't want to do that anymore. I don't know why around here. But I did have one couple, they wanted me to mix it up because they went to so many different weddings, and they say, it's always the oldest couple there. And they didn't want that on the dance floor with them. They said, start off, invite everybody up to the dance floor, and then, all right, people that have been married 65 years and longer, please leave the dance floor. And then somewhere in the middle there, people that have been married 24 hours or less, please leave the dance floor. It just kept on rotating. And then they had a special couple that they wanted to be left on the dance floor. And instead of doing the garter and bouquet, they handed a garter and they handed the bouquet to them. So it was something totally different. It was off the wall. I've never done that way after that. I suggested it to some other couples, and they're like, well, we don't want the anniversary dance at all. I'm like, okay, no problem. A suggestion. If you wanted to do the anniversary dance, you could do it this way. You could do it any way you want to. There's no rules of engagement in that, It doesn't have to go by a specific way.
and then Buddy had went on to say Tracy has the timeline on her tablet. She will send it over to the others. We also asked if the bar has a last call. we don't like saying that because again, he doesn't want people to bum rush the bar. And then at Nuke 9868 says, for ceremony, I've sometimes edited a longer version of the wedding party songs, especially when it's a song where they have a kid or a pet walking down the aisle, which are both unpredictable. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Buddy went on to say Tracy will let the photographer and videographer people
He has
eat
them
just
eat
after the couple.
Yeah.
She would ask the room,
Captain.
okay, thank you. It's like he's doing these abbreviations. I'm like, what the heck? So they can, so it's the room captain, so they can get done before the special dances.
Yeah.
And Tracy's doing all this work at the wedding. Who collects the check? Tracy or
She
Buddy?
probably does. Does Tracy get Buddy a plate of food?
Or Tracy pay him, Buddy?
Well, that's I think all part of the pricing that they're at is it's not
they
just
should, because-
Buddy, it's she's day of.
Yeah.
So that's all encompassing. So a lot of people go and maybe go, well, how is he that much? It's like, well, it's not just him. It's more than that.
I mean, it's a lot of fun actually planning the wedding out for the couple, or helping the couple plan their wedding out. Because again, you may work with a wonderful coordinator and you get spoiled by that wonderful coordinator, and then all of a sudden you get one that's a knucklehead, and you're like, where did this person roll out from? You know, and then you're like, boy, oh boy, I wish Angie was here. Oh my God, I wish Angie was here. You know, like it just, because you got used to working with her on that given day, like Dwayne did. I mean, there's been a lot that I've worked with that are great, and then there's that handful that weren't great, and they stick out in your mind. They stay with you forever.
Yep. And then Buddy says Tracy gets the money and he don't eat. And then Cool Thing said he should eat at his events.
I know a lot of DJs that don't eat at their events. Me, I prefer to eat, because a lot of the venues I go to, the food's amazing. I'm not going to pass up an amazing meal. You know, it's just everything's prepared right then that day. Nothing is pre-made, which is great. I'm not passing up a meal like that. There's no possible way.
Yeah, I have food allergies. My food allergies make me very cautious of eating out, because that's the last thing I need to eat that. Then my stomach is all messed up.
I have that problem too. Certain things will just set me off, and it's like, do I want to risk it?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just say, can I get a plate to go? You got a container I could put it in? Sure.
The one venue I go to, the owner will not cook anything with peanut oil. No salt, no pepper, no nothing. Everything is bland. If you want to add salt to it, you add salt to it, because she doesn't know who has high blood pressure, who's allergic to peanuts, whatever. This way, if it's made with canola oil, there's nobody really allergic to canola oil. Salt, pepper, you really don't have an allergy to, but blood pressure, you add too much salt to it, boom, you're spiking that person's blood pressure. So she would rather have them add it on their own. Some people complain that the food is bland. Well, there's a salt and pepper shaker right in front of you. Go for it, man. You know what I like? Give me my Tabasco sauce. I put Tabasco sauce on everything. Eggs, potatoes, you name it, I'm on it.
And then Buddy said that he just need his water and pop. And he might get some cake.
Buddy, pop, buddy. That's all I call it too, is pop.
Okay, so I'm thinking we should just stop it right here. And then, because we can get into the next phase. Because I want to ask, okay, we just went through what kind of questions we ask for ourselves, and the way that we ask it, and then the way that we, I guess you could say, store the information. It makes sense to us. Now, what happens? Go ahead.
when do we start preparing our gear for the wedding? Like, okay, we're gonna have this. I mean, I have an assortments of lights. I have wash lights. I have moving head wash lights. I have moving beam lights. I have totems. I have gravity stands. You know, it's whatever they want for that special occasion. When do you start preparing to put that all in your van, whatever vehicle you're using? When do you start preparing to put that in your van or your vehicle?
I
Or
try to
in your-
do it. I try to do it at least the
Day
night
before.
before.
Well, because if you're using your own personal vehicle as your hauling for events, you don't really want to pollute it when you got family things going on. So you basically have to go to the last minute. Now, if you're like Buddy and you have the world as your oyster vehicle, you know, everything's preloaded in there.
Well,
I'm sort of in the Dwayne camp. Like right now, I have a block party tomorrow. I have shifted out some of the stuff, but it's also supposed to rain. Block party outside and rain equal no happen.
yeah.
So right now I'm holding off on putting in the speakers until tomorrow. And because if it gets canceled, what's the point in lugging the speakers into my
Yeah.
car? So I tend to wait till right before. Now, if it's a wedding, I know it's not going to get canceled. But I still don't like to pollute if I'm using my car if it's a small enough package because I'll even adjust what I'll use depending on what I need. Now, I love my column speakers and I can get most setups I can get in my car. It's a full size Saber, so I can put stuff in the back seat, front seat, you know, trunk. So if it's a
if you
bigger
should-
event, I do have an SUV that's a Rainier and it hauls more. Go ahead.
I went to do my nephew's wedding and I pulled up. The venue manager came out and she's like, "Oh, so you don't have that much equipment?" Because I have a Chevy Cruze. It's a 4-door. And when I start bringing out totems, moving heads, wash lights, what do you call it? My par fours, my wedges, my two 12-inch subs, my two 12-inch speakers, speaker stands. This lady's like, where did you pack all that in? I said, I used to work at UPS when I was in college. Tried to ship in the shipping business, no wasted space. But then that night, my son was packing up the car. Dad, it
can't
won't
make
all
this
fit
fit.
in. I'm
Well,
like,
that's why you and I do this when I use the SUV or whatever.
Take a
I take
picture
a
of it.
picture.
Yep.
I take a picture of it so that I know I put it right back in the exact same spot.
yep, exactly. That's
Yep.
and I say, take a picture. You know exactly where it goes again.
Yep.
And on your phone, you just pull up. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
And then Buddy said he keeps some of his stuff on the van, but some gear he loads the day before, and he also get gas the day before.
No, he don't
And-
get gas.
Huh?
Eddie, when did you
He
start
gets-
getting gas?
Oh, he's
That's
gassy all the
diesel.
time.
That's a
He's
diesel.
gassy. He's gassy all the time.
And then he said, I asked, what gear do I need? You don't need everything. And then Anouk went on to say, yes, everything is staged and charged, etc., in the holding pattern style for different events. Different setups ready for each event. Everything is ready for Thursday at the latest. Because I try to do mine early because I hate, again, just like Kevin, when I was working, I had to like constantly move stuff, and that loading the car the day of, I'm like, I'm tired before I even start going to the
Yeah.
event. So that's why
Usually
I
I try to do it the night before.
right, and not do a podcast the night before and show stuff off on the podcast to put it to the side and leave it like I did
and
that,
remember to
last
pay
month.
it. The other thing I do is I have one of those apps on my phone where it's just a checklist. So I'll put down, you know, like the block party. I've already done once. And so I have a list of everything I need. I need 2 speakers, I need stands, I need my laptop. You know, I have a list and I just, you know, as soon as I do it, and it crosses it off. And so right now I know I just got a speaker and the chair I'm sitting in is all I need to pack for tomorrow's event. I usually will do sort of a general, it could be the specific venue if it's something odd and different, but I'll create just a wedding, of, okay, I need the speakers, the stands, the controller, laptop, backup laptop, my corded bag, the electric bags, I have a list and I just like Santa, I get it in the car, click, click, did that. Oh, nope, got to do that. The one thing I a lot of times forget because I am different than you guys, I go with the wireless headphones. And so I have to charge that up. And a lot of times I'll forget to get it back into the vehicle.
I have the IEMs too. I like the wireless headphone, the IEMs, in-ear monitors. I love them. The headphones, they're great, but then you got people tapping, you go to turn, it's like, oh, the wire. Oh, the wire. You go to walk away, oh, the wire. It's like, that's it. Now I have it. My in-ear monitors, I can walk where I want to walk. I could pop one out, keep one out, and just listen to people if they come up to ask a question. And I could still hear the music over in this ear. But my left ear is my strong ear. I don't know what it is and why it's that way, but my right ear, I can't hear nothing out of it.
And then
I could, but it's just like muffled.
And then cool thing is that he put his gear in the car the day of, right before he leaves the event, since his gear is in storage on the floor of his garage. And then he said he can choose between his mom's. I just love the way he can give these long model numbers and stuff. I can choose between my mom's 2014 Ford Fusion SE or my dad's 2024 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss and my mom's new Buick Invista Sports Tour.
Yeah, I think that's like a little shrunken SUV, if I remember right.
And then the Ruckus is in the house.
What's happening, pretty boy?
And then Buddy says charging can take him up to a day or two with all the gear he has.
Got a plan, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then at La Ruckus Inc. has says IEMs are the best. I have broken 2 Beats studio headphones because of them those cables.
Darn cables. Those darn cables.
Mine are Basin.
Or dang.
Basin in-ear monitors. I love them. They're a little bit expensive, but I love them. They're honestly, I think they're the best going out there on the market. Well, I can't say they're that expensive because there's a lot more out there that are a lot more expensive than them, but they were like roughly around $300.
Mm-hmm.
But my headphones, I bought them 3 years ago. They cost me $800. They're great, but it gets annoying,
Yeah. And then it just messes up my afro. When I go home, I have that fro, then the dent, and then the fro.
Listen, it screws up my hair like you wouldn't believe. It's like, Jesus, look at it.
Messes up my hair too. Look at that. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, it's back there someplace. I feel a little. Yeah, there's a couple strands.
I got like the peach fuzz. That's it. I just think my hair was down in my butt. My bangs were down the middle of my chest, and the sides were down by the bottom of my rib cage.
Yep.
Eat a hamburger and shit it all off.
And then that Nuke says he has his checklist on his laptop, phone, and he also have a paper checklist printed out. And it's placed near each setup, which helps him load up and check off with a good old marker.
Now, look, what I do is I have one like right before I go out the door. So as I'm taking stuff out, I'm checking it off. So if I go out and I'm going out and say, okay, this is the last piece I got to take out, and I see, oh, wait a second, I didn't check that off. I forgot that. So back, go get that, and I could check that off, and boom.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I do, just in case, if I'm local to where I live, I have a uncle who is basically semi-retired.
Mm-hmm.
I will ask just in case. Is like I will call my aunt because usually he's too busy to answer the phone. Hey, what's my uncle doing? He's got a part-time job. He's retired. He's here at home. Oh, okay. All right. Just in case I forgot something or something's not working or, I know that he is available or that he's not available, so it's not an emergency DJ, which I know we were going to talk about that too, but it is just in case something happens. Like I know not to call Dwayne. Dwayne's in Cleveland. He can't possibly come down here and save the day or help me out if something should happen. But I know my uncle if I'm here in this area. Now, if I went up to really? Now, if I went up to the Cleveland area, I would probably reach out. Hey, Dwayne, because I was in Lorraine, and I think I reached out to you. It's like, hey, are you? It's like, and you were free. It's like, okay, just keeping you in mind, just in case something should happen.
Yeah.
That I could call. And because I was going into his area that would make sense to give him a call. So I will do that. And then my other friend that I've worked for, his company, I usually try to find out what he's doing, where he's at in relation to where I'm at, and then all the other ex-teammates of part of that company. I find out if they're doing something. If not, am I going to be close by? Or if they're doing something, are they in the neck of the woods that I'm going to be in? And maybe I forgot a widget or something, and maybe I can reach out to them. So I do try to touch base on given events, where everybody's at.
I was talking to a DJ the other day, and we were talking about cell phones and stuff. And it's basically everywhere I go here in northeastern PA, I basically have service, except for there's a couple of dead areas. And then the one wedding I did last year was an emergency wedding. It was completely dead. I mean, I had nothing. I went to text my wife and it said, please follow satellite. I'm like, what the heck is this? And a little satellite came up my phone. And I'm running, trying to follow this satellite. And next thing I know, I'm going into the woods. I'm like, nope, that's the end of that. But this DJ bought a satellite phone. I mean, he's paying enough for the service, but he has service anywhere he goes. He can go to the moon and back. He still has service, but I don't even want to ask him what he was paying for his service because I'm like, oh Jesus! How it can't be that important of a DJ that you have to have satellite service on your phone. There's no possible way. No way.
Not unless you go to the areas down by Kevin. It's like, as soon as I get there and get out my car, I have no internet service. And that's the other thing I forgot to say that I asked the venue when I get there. Do they have Wi-Fi?
You have your own Wi-Fi? Yeah.
Well, this DJ, the reason he bought the phone is because he's so busy. Really? You have no service. They can leave you a voicemail. You're not going to call them back when you're at the venue.
Yeah, when you're actively, yeah. It's like, hey, yeah, I'm actually mixing here right while I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because then I guess if you're the customer that's possibly wanting to book that person, do you want that person doing that
at your
wedding?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not. So I mean, I had one the other day. I was going to the rehearsal and she's like, hey, are you available on this day? Why, yes, I am. I would love to talk to you about it, but I'm on my way to the rehearsal. So if you're okay with that, I will probably be getting so back that tonight really wasn't work, but I can reach out to you when I'm home. Yep. And I did, which I didn't get back home till about 11:30. So she didn't respond. So I was like, the day of, I'm sort of indisposed that day, but Sunday would be good to talk all day long.
Yep.
So
that's the best way to do it. That's exactly how I do it.
I don't want to try to juggle, and I would think that they would say, yeah, I don't want someone just sort of trying to work something else when he's supposed to be devoting his time and energy and focus on my event, So
I love when I get a text. I need a price on my wedding. Presently, I'm DJing right now. Could I get? It might be say an afternoon party. Could I get back to you this evening about it? You can't give me a price right now. I don't respond.
I'm working.
I don't even respond back. I'm like,
but if you're answering your text, you can't be working too hard. So you shouldn't have answered in the first place.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is make them wait.
Yeah, I'll respond one time and that's it. I'm presently DJing. That's all. And they can text me 100 times. I'm not responding. After
I know
that
there's
first
some of
response-
those. Yeah, I know there's some of those programs where it's automated. It automatically
Yeah.
responds for you.
Yeah, the
I
iPhone,
mean,
you can set that up. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my luck will be going off all the time the way I set stuff up.
So we're going to just stop it here because this is a good spot to stop it.
Yeah.
And then just deal
Definitely.
with the other side of our
Emergency
planet.
situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next week. And Laricus, Diego said he's that good, so he can mix, answer the phone, and then while he's getting ready to do his mashup, he'd be like, and do his mashup. He said, and then he says, "I'll
he's
just
only
say, go to
5'4",
my
right?
website. Prices are there. Thanks." Yep.
He's only 5'4", isn't he, Diego?
Mm-hmm.
So that
I
ain't
thought
too
he
bad.
said
I
he was
mean, he has-
5'6" or 5'8". I thought he was taller
Oh, that
than
must have been 2-inch shoes on.
Oh. But there is,
That's
every
right.
time I go on Instagram, there's Suno. Suno, I got to show him the picture. Suno has this ad going, and it's a guy that's doing his
Looks like
beats,
him.
and he has the great hat on backwards. And every time I'm scrolling, I'm thinking it's Diego getting ready to do a mashup.
Mashup.
Until he turns around, it's like, oh snap, he got me again. I should recognize that Suno ad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Diego's great. He's a great guy. He's great at doing mashups. Unbelievable at doing mashups. My hat goes off to him.
And he says he's
He-
5'6".
He's 5'6".
Hmm.
All right, he has 3-inch shoes on then. I just let Buster's behind. I haven't called him cutie pie in a while.
You just did.
Did I? Oh Jesus! I'm sorry, cutie pie.
All right, so let's go ahead and end it. So, yeah, because it'll be almost 12 o'clock before I get to bed.
Oh Jesus!
So let's do our shout outs. And our chat leaderboard from last week is, in first place is DJ Cool Thing. Second place is Kevin from DJK Productions. Third place is at Nuke 9868. And then in fourth was DJ Will. And fifth was DJ Mikey Mike. Sixth was Diego at La Rux Inc. Seventh is Buddy from TBM Productions. At eighth was Big J DJ Services. Ninth was at Sean DJ Night Owl at Sean Cotley. And then number 10 was at Your DJ Setup Sucks. And then if you haven't done so already, you can join our Facebook group page just by going to Facebook and typing in Queued Up DJ Podcast in the browser. And you can join our private or public group. You can follow me and DJ Mikey Mike. DJ Mikey Mike's handle is at DJ Mikey Mike on his Facebook and Twitter, and then at DJ Mikey Mike 45 on his Instagram. And then you can follow me on my socials at Hitman D Dub. And then we have this thing called the DJ Collective Network. So starting the week off, we have DJ Cool's Things, Time to Spin at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube at DJ Cool Thing Officials. Then on Tuesdays, we have the DJ Roundtable live on Twitch on Buddy's Twitch channel, which is TBM Productions _Buddy at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can see the rebroadcast on YouTube, on his YouTube channel at TBM Productions every Monday at 1 o'clock. Then on Wednesdays, it's a King's Court with DJ James King at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on his YouTube channel at James King HTX. And then on Thursdays, you have the Queued Up DJ podcast with me, the Hitman D Dub, and DJ Mikey Mike on my channel at the Hitman D Dub at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you have the Start to Spin DJ podcast at La Ruckus Inc. at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Diego's YouTube channel. And it's hosted by at DJ Pretty Boy and at DJ Shay and at DJ Kevin Sounds. And then you can catch Kevin live. No, actually, you can catch Kevin either in the chat on our show, on the Roundtable Show, sometimes on the KJ Chill Room with Matt and Eric every Monday at on djntv.com/KJ Chill.
I will tell you, I've been gone for a little bit because my laptop that I'm back in my little voiceover area had taken a hit. And so now it's back up and operating. So I can be on the KJ a little bit more now.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And then
And
gotta
DJ
go.
Reese.
Yep. I was just going backwards there. Then we have our other DJ friend at _DJ Reese _ with the We Create the Vibes podcast on YouTube, and then the No Stress Zone podcast on Facebook. And then we have the Woo Experience at the Woo Experience on YouTube. And then we have the Mega Booth. You can get it for $2,495 and use our code, queue it up, to get $500 off. And you can get the photo booth at photoboothdirectclub.com, as well as the Sigma video guest book, which goes for $795 in 3 different colors, red, black, and white. And then you can also learn about SEOs and online marketing from DJ Night Owl on his YouTube channel at DJ Biz School. So remember to like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you like our video. And our fade out message tonight is success comes from the right information. And so we're going to touch upon that more next week.
I just wish you good luck, pal.
Yep. But I'm thinking I'm okay. Because remember,
Hey, you're the
if you all didn't watch Buddy's show, the reason I did this topic was I'm doing like a emergency DJ duties this Saturday, and I'm filling in for another DJ. And so tonight we talked about questions that we would ask for ourselves as if we're doing it. But next week we're going to take a look at what if we, for some reason, we can't make the gig and we have to pass it off to somebody else. Now, all the information that we got is good for us because we were there talking to the client the whole time. But what if you can't do it and at the last minute you need someone to fill in? So what kind of information do you need to give that DJ to help them be successful at the event? And I want to hear from DJs that's the emergency DJ. What kind of information do you really need in order to do this event? So once the information I got, once I was able to put two together and piece everything together, talk to the person passing it off to get more information after I put it in a format that I can understand. He was able to fill me in, and then I didn't really need to talk to the clients. I just text them, let them know that I'll be doing their wedding, so it won't be a surprise. And then I just ask them to answer a couple of questions, and they send it right back. So once I got that information, and thank God for AI, learning to get all the information from the documents to the emails, and then I used, if you can see this, it's called a Communa
Scanner.
link. But it's basically,
Like a scanner?
it's like open book. It's like a recorder. you can hit the button and it could record your phone calls or record like, it's basically a voice recorder. After you end the recording, it will automatically summarize it, do a transcript, and give you
Zoom
key
does that
points.
too,
Huh?
doesn't it? Doesn't Zoom do that too? You can
Yeah.
have it set on Zoom. Yeah.
Yep. So it's like once I did the site visit, I had that running. So I just basically took all that information and then dumped it into Chat GPT. And then I just conversated with Chat GPT like the way Batman does his supercomputer and Iron Man does with Jarvis. So I can make heads and tails of all this information that was dumped on me at the last minute. So we did a good job of putting it in a nice, easy form for me to understand. And I was able to finally picture the wedding from the time I arrived to all the way to the grand exit when they all leave. And once I got past that and got the music together and started again practicing the songs, I was able to see how the songs kind of like flowed into the next song to kind of like piece the kind of vibe that they that they want. So once I did that, I'm all good. It's just a matter of tomorrow just going through my tech run just to make sure everything works the way that I need it to work, and then pack it the way that I can just easily back my car up, unpack, get set up, and then at the end of the night, throw it back together and get on out.
I mean, well, I've done 4 emergency weddings, but we'll get into that next week. I don't want to discuss them tonight. It's scary, but not scary if everything's done proper way.
Mhm.
And that's I sent you my wedding planner so you could see it.
Yeah, because yours is straightforward. That's the kind of stuff I want to
like
hear.
I said, a first grader could fill out mine. You know, that's how it's just boom. That's all you need. I mean, that is it. Plain and
Or
simple.
I can understand him because after talking to him, I can understand what he does. Because it's just like with the Bible app. There's a lot of stuff on there that could be daunting. But when I download the PDF, the timeline and all that stuff to hand out to the other vendors, I don't put all that extra stuff in there because they don't need to know all
They
the
don't
extra
care.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. They just need to know the specifics, the what, when, and where, and then highlight certain things.
Yeah, you're the emergency DJ, and all of a sudden you get this boom. You're like, what? You know. So I just, I thank God, knock on wood, I have never canceled out a wedding. But again, like I said, I did 4 emergency weddings, and the last one, the DJ lied to the couple. So it was that's a no-no. That's totally unprofessional. But again, the more simplistic it is, the easier it is. I mean, if you're just a new DJ, if this is your first gig ever, yeah, my wedding planner is going to look like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But if you're an experienced DJ, you're going to say, oh, I can follow this 1, 2, 3. You know, because, okay, the wedding's going to start at 5. It gets over at 10. Here's the entrance. Here's the list of the bridesmaids and groomsmen, you know, and everything's right there. So if you have the experience, you know, okay, 5 o'clock it's starting. 5 to 6 is cocktail hour. 6 to 7 is 6 o'clock is introductions, and everything just falls right into place. I mean, if you have the experience, it'll fall into place. If it's the first time you're ever doing a wedding, mine will look Greek to you. But if you did 2 weddings prior to looking at my wedding planner, you'll know exactly what to do then.
Yeah, but still, it should be, even if they never did a wedding or don't have a lot of experience. Therefore, you still, if they have to do it, you still gotta present it in a simplistic form for them to do. Because what I was sent was not simplistic, and I'm thinking, if he doesn't have it already, he needs to look into. Yes, you can ask all those questions, but when you send stuff out, he needs to have some way to summarize a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Summarize it and then give me the meat of what needs to be done.
Like I said, knock on wood, I never had to cancel a wedding, but if I do ever have to cancel a wedding, I will put, okay, start time is here. This is going to happen here. This is going to happen there. Just the time. Cake cutting, 7:45 or 6:45. First dance is going to happen at this time. Or I could just put down, venue manager is going to let you know, or the wedding planner is going to let you know what time this is going to happen. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. It just, thank God, never have to cancel. Unfortunately, I had to pick up 4 weddings that DJs did cancel, and God bless the last couple. It was just the Wednesday night at 11 p.m. They got a call that supposedly he got in a car accident, and it was never true.
So why don't we just leave it like that?
But
so,
let that
too
go
bad
to
I
next week.
don't have that like the old Batman, the Adam West Batman kind of TV shows. Put to be continued. With the 3 dots.
Yep. And we got our mascot back with us tonight.
Okay. So with that said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I'd like to also thank everyone who I reached out to about this situation.
I have something to say. Everybody, let's wish Dwayne a happy birthday. His birthday just passed on the 4th
also
of
yours
August.
too.
Mine's passed. It's almost a week already, so I'm good. Yours just happened 2 days ago.
Yep.
No, 1 day ago.
Tuesday.
It was 2 days. Yep.
On Buddy's show.
Yep. Happy birthday, Dwayne.
All right, thanks. So I guess I'll get a chance to enjoy it next week sometime.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you.
Yep. And so again, I hope everyone have a great weekend. Make sure you go out there and crush those gigs. And hopefully we'll see you next week. So remember, before it's time to spin, you gotta first cue it up. And then I'll send a link out to those that put in that after party in the chat.
Practice and enjoy, everybody. Have a great week and a safe weekend.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, yeah.
Before the lights, 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 before the packed dance floors, before the name queued up, would mean anything. Been hustling over 30 years, working every single day. Music wasn't just a job, it was built in my DNA. The journey wasn't overnight. Still figuring it out. There ain't no changing me. I can only be me. The consistency stayed the same, even if they don't feel the same. 'Cause no matter how high I go, I'm still the same OG.